Most people give up after 1, 2, or 3 rejections. Me, I was rejected more than 30 times before finding my way. I failed the university entrance exam 10 times. I applied for dozens of jobs and was rejected by all of them, even at KFC. Out of 24 candidates, 23 were accepted. I was the only one rejected. That could have been the end of my journey, but I decided that every no would be a reason to try again. What kept me going? My mindset. I wasn't the smartest, the strongest, or the wealthiest, but I had something more powerful: resilience. I learned that success isn't about having the best conditions. It's about how you respond to the worst situations. While many people complain about difficulties, I saw them as opportunities to grow. If you're facing rejection, remember, it doesn't define your destiny. You do. At that time, there weren't many opportunities for people like me. I was born in China, into a family without connections or privileges. The internet was still an unfamiliar concept to most people, but I saw something extraordinary in it. I told myself, if not now, when? If not me, who? If no one was willing to believe in the potential of technology, I would. While many doubted, I kept learning. Alibaba wasn't born because I was a business genius. It was born because I was willing to fail more than anyone else. What many call failure, I saw as learning. I gathered a group of friends in my apartment and said, "Let's create something big." They laughed. But I knew the world belonged to those who dared to dream big. Many people wait for the perfect opportunity. I learned that it never arrives. You have to create it. The question I ask you is, how many times are you willing to fail before achieving something great? I remember the day I was rejected at KFC like it was yesterday. 24 people applied, 23 were accepted. I was the only one rejected. It wasn't the first time it had happened, but it was one of those moments when reality hits hard. I could have given up right then, believing I wasn't good enough. But instead, I decided to turn that humiliation into motivation. Failure teaches us something powerful. You can either use pain as fuel or let it paralyze you. Many people give up because they believe rejection is a sign they aren't capable. But in reality, rejection only means you haven't found your path yet. I realized that if the world didn't have space for me, I would create my own. At that time, I asked myself, if no one believes in me, why can't I believe in myself? And that's exactly what I did. I dove deep into the internet when no one else believed in it. People said it was an impossible dream, but I knew that if I didn't try, I'd spend the rest of my life asking, what if? Failure only hurts until you decide to learn from it. Many times the rejections we face aren't about our abilities, but about other people's limited vision. If I had listened to those who doubted me, the world would have never seen Alibaba. That's why I always say, if you want to catch the rabbit, don't change the rabbit, change yourself. The world won't change to make your life easier, but you can change to create new opportunities. Today, looking back, I realized that every no I received was a gift in disguise. The real question isn't whether you will be rejected. The question is, what will you do about it? Since I was young, I was told I wasn't smart enough. My teachers said I had no future. Whenever I tried something new, people laughed and said, "Jack, you will never be anybody." At first, it hurt. Who likes to be doubted? But over time, I realized something powerful. I had two choices. Either I believed what they said, or I proved them wrong. I chose the second option. The truth is, the world is full of people who want to tell you what you can or cannot do. But they don't live your life. They don't know your potential. If I had accepted their words as truth, I would have given up at the first obstacle. Instead, I used every criticism as a reminder that success isn't determined by those who doubt you. It's decided by how you respond to those doubts. Many times, the people who discourage you are the ones who never tried anything big. They project their own fears onto you. But I learned a valuable lesson. When you're poor, if you have a dream, you never feel poor. Having a dream kept me strong. Instead of focusing on what they said, I focused on what I could build. If I had listened to the skeptics, I would have never tried to create Alibaba. I knew the world didn't need another doubter. It needed someone who believed. It doesn't matter how many people don't believe in you. What matters is whether you doubt yourself. The ones who win aren't always the most talented. They are the ones who keep trying when everyone else says stop. Criticism and rejection will always exist. But the question is, will you let them define you, or will you turn them into fuel to go even further? If success depended only on good grades, I would have never gotten anywhere. I failed my university entrance exam twice. I wasn't a brilliant student, and my academic journey was full of failures. But I realized something that changed my life. What makes the difference is not what you learn from books, but how you apply what you learn in real life. Schools teach formulas, but they don't teach resilience. They teach theory, but they don't teach how to handle failure. When I started Alibaba, I had no MBA, no background in technology, but I had something no school ever taught me: the ability to keep going, even when everything went wrong. I learned that knowledge without courage is useless. Many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect preparation before taking action, but the real world doesn't work like that. The real learning happens when you take risks, make mistakes, and learn from them. While many were busy collecting degrees, I was busy understanding how to solve real problems. That's when I realized, if not now, when? If not me, who? Waiting for the right moment or perfect knowledge is a waste of time. The most important thing is to start. The biggest lessons in my life didn't come from a book, but from the challenges I faced and the solutions I had to find. You can have all the certifications in the world, but if you don't learn how to fail, you will never succeed. What matters is not what you know, but what you do with what you know. The question is, are you willing to learn the hard way? When I started Alibaba, almost no one believed in my idea. Even my friends said it was crazy to compete with giants like eBay and Amazon. Banks refused to fund us, investors laughed at our proposal, and many said the internet was just a passing trend. I could have given up, but I learned something crucial. When no one believes in you, that's when you need to believe in yourself the most. The truth is, people only support success once it has already happened. Before that, everything seems impossible. But I knew that if I waited for others' approval, I would never move forward. So I decided that if the world didn't see the potential in my vision, I would see it myself. When people doubt you, don't try to convince them with words. Prove it with results. Many think they need support to start, but that's a mistake. The greatest visionaries in history were doubted before they became great. The secret isn't about convincing others. It's about persisting until success speaks for itself. If I had waited for recognition, Alibaba would have never become a reality. On top of that, I learned that criticism can be a sign that you are on the right path. If no one doubts you, maybe your idea isn't big enough. The mistake many entrepreneurs make is not failing. It's giving up too soon out of fear of rejection. In the end, the only opinion that truly matters is your own. The world will always have skeptics. The question is, will you let them decide your future, or will you keep going even without applause? Many people believe that to succeed, you need to be a genius. I am proof that this is not true. I was never a brilliant student. I failed math, got low grades, and struggled in several exams. But I realized something fundamental. Academic intelligence doesn't build empires. Resilience and vision are far more important. When I started Alibaba, I knew nothing about technology, programming, or digital business. But I understood one thing. I didn't need to be an expert in everything. I needed to find the right people. A great leader is not someone who knows everything, but someone who can gather and inspire the best talents. If you think you need to master everything alone, you are looking at success the wrong way. Moreover, while many tried to create something perfect before launching, I knew that it was more important to start and adjust along the way. The world is full of intelligent people who never move forward because they are waiting for the perfect moment. The secret is not having all the answers, but having the courage to move forward even without them. The reality is that no one is born knowing everything. What separates those who succeed from those who fail is not intelligence, but the ability to keep learning, making mistakes, and improving. Success doesn't come from special talent, but from a daily commitment to personal growth. If you are waiting to be smart enough to start, stop now. You don't need to be a genius to build something great. You just need vision, determination, and the ability to never give up. And that is something anyone can develop. Failure was never a problem for me. The real problem would have been giving up. Throughout my life, I have been rejected countless times. I failed in school, was turned down by companies, humiliated by investors, and ignored when I tried to present my vision for Alibaba. But I learned something powerful. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of the path to it. Most people see failure as a sign to stop. I always saw it as a sign to learn. Every time something went wrong, I asked myself, what can I improve? Instead of mourning mistakes, I studied them. I discovered that every obstacle made me stronger, more experienced, and better prepared for the next attempt. The mistake most people make is thinking that success comes from one big win. In reality, it comes from a series of well-managed failures. If you learn from your mistakes, they become stepping stones. But if you give in to them, they become walls. The difference between those who win and those who quit is how they handle setbacks. At Alibaba, we made many mistakes. Some decisions nearly destroyed us. But we never let one failure define our future. We adjusted, learned, and moved forward. I discovered that those who succeed the most are not the ones who fail the least, but the ones who have the courage to keep failing until they get it right. If you failed today, great. That means you are trying. The real failure is not making mistakes, it is stopping to try. Now the question is, what will you do with your failures? If I were starting from scratch today, with no money, no connections, and facing difficulties, what would be my first step? The answer is simple. I would look around and find a problem to solve. The biggest mistake people make is waiting for the perfect idea or the ideal opportunity. But the reality is that success starts when you decide to act with what you have now. Many people say they can't move forward because they lack resources. But when I started Alibaba, I also had no money, technology, or support. The only thing I had was a group of friends who believed in the same vision as I did. We built everything from nothing, focusing on what mattered most, creating value for people. If you want to change your life, stop focusing on what you lack and start using what you already have. Another thing I would do is learn fast. The world is constantly changing, and those who don't adapt fall behind. I wouldn't wait years to be ready. Instead, I would dive into continuous learning, testing ideas, failing fast, and adjusting even faster. Success is not about having all the answers, but about being willing to learn and reinvent yourself constantly. Also, I wouldn't waste time trying to convince people who don't believe in me. When I started, many laughed at my vision. If I had worried about proving something to the skeptics, I would have wasted valuable time. The focus should be on making things happen, not on seeking approval. When you deliver results, even those who doubted you start paying attention. If I were in your place, I wouldn't wait another day. The right moment to start never comes, it is created. And the only question you need to answer now is, are you willing to take the first step? Throughout my journey, I received a lot of advice. Some were useless, while others made me rethink my decisions. But one, in particular, completely changed how I saw the world. Opportunities exist where people don't want to look. When I heard this, I realized that I was always trying to compete in the same spaces as everyone else, instead of looking where no one was trying. When I started studying China's internet market, almost no one believed in it. Big investors said there was no future for e-commerce in the country. But instead of giving up, I saw an enormous opportunity. I realized that success doesn't come from following the crowd, but from seeing what the crowd hasn't noticed yet. This simple advice transformed my life and can transform yours. What are you ignoring today that could become the greatest opportunity of your life tomorrow? Failure has been my greatest teacher. Every setback I faced, whether it was getting rejected by jobs, failing school exams, or struggling to secure funding for Alibaba, taught me something valuable. While many see failure as an endpoint, I learned that it is actually a beginning. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is how they react to failure. The first lesson I learned is that failure only defeats you if you let it. When I failed my university entrance exam twice, I could have believed I wasn't smart enough. When investors rejected Alibaba, I could have accepted that my idea wasn't good enough. But instead, I saw failure as a signal to improve. If you don't give up, failure simply becomes feedback. The second lesson is that failure exposes your real strengths. Many people fear failure because they think it defines them. But the truth is, failure reveals who you really are. Do you let one rejection break you, or do you find a way forward? Every time I was turned down, I had a choice. Feel sorry for myself or get better. I chose to get better. The third and most important lesson is that failure forces you to innovate. If I had succeeded in getting a regular job, I might have never started Alibaba. If everything had gone smoothly, I wouldn't have developed the mindset to overcome obstacles. The greatest breakthroughs come from those who refuse to accept defeat. So when you face failure, don't ask, "Why me?" Instead ask, "What can I learn?" Because those who master failure are the ones who ultimately master success. Not every decision I made was a good one. In fact, some nearly destroyed everything I worked for. One of the biggest mistakes I made was underestimating the power of teamwork. In the early days of Alibaba, I thought I could do everything on my own. I wanted to make all the decisions, control every detail, and rely only on my own ideas. That nearly cost me everything. A company is not built by one person. It is built by a strong, united team. At one point, I realized that if I continued trying to do everything myself, Alibaba would never grow. That's when I learned the importance of finding the right people, trusting them, and letting them take responsibility. Leadership is not about controlling, it's about empowering others. Another mistake I made was being too focused on short-term survival rather than long-term vision. At times, I was so caught up in trying to keep Alibaba alive that I forgot to plan for the future. If you only focus on solving immediate problems, you will never build something truly great. That's why I learned to always think 5, 10, or even 20 years ahead. I also realized that making mistakes is not the real problem. Refusing to learn from them is. When I recognized my errors, I didn't ignore them or make excuses. Instead, I adjusted my strategy, listened to my team, and adapted. Mistakes are not failures if you use them to grow. No entrepreneur, no leader, and no human being gets everything right. The key is to acknowledge your mistakes, correct them, and keep moving forward. Because the biggest mistake of all is being too afraid to take risks. Having dreams is not enough. You need to have a system to stay motivated when everything is falling apart. There were many times in my journey when things seemed impossible. Alibaba almost went bankrupt more than once. I faced rejection after rejection. The easy choice would have been to give up. But I discovered a strategy that kept me going, no matter what. The first step is to remember why you started. Whenever I felt like quitting, I reminded myself of my purpose, to help small businesses in China connect with the world. A strong why is more powerful than any challenge. If you don't have a deep reason behind what you're doing, the first obstacle will stop you. The second step is to embrace difficulties instead of avoiding them. I trained my mind to expect problems. Instead of being discouraged by challenges, I saw them as part of the process. Every great success story includes struggles. If you only want the rewards but not the hardships, you'll never get far. The third step is to find strength in those around you. I surrounded myself with people who believed in the vision of Alibaba, even when the world didn't. When I felt weak, they lifted me up. No one succeeds alone. If you try to do everything by yourself, you will run out of energy. Find a team, a mentor, or even just one person who supports you. The final step is simple. Take action, even when you don't feel ready. Motivation doesn't come before action, it comes after. If you wait to feel ready, you'll wait forever. Move forward, even if it's just a small step, and momentum will follow. Giving up is always an option, but so is choosing to push forward. The question is, which choice will you make? Many people believe that money, luck, or intelligence are the keys to success. But after everything I've been through, I can tell you that the real difference between those who succeed and those who don't comes down to one thing: persistence. It's not the smartest people who win, it's the ones who refuse to quit. I've seen incredibly talented individuals give up at the first sign of difficulty, and I've seen people with no special skills achieve incredible things simply because they kept going when others stopped. The world rewards those who don't give up. Most people quit too early. They try something once, fail, and decide it's impossible. But the truth is, success is usually just a few more attempts away. I failed over and over again before Alibaba worked. If I had stopped after my first rejection, I would still be unemployed today. The biggest mistake you can make is thinking that success should come quickly. Real success takes time, effort, and an unbelievable amount of patience. The reason most people never reach their dreams is that they are not willing to endure the struggle long enough to make them happen. So if you're wondering what's standing between you and success, the answer is simple. How many times are you willing to get back up? How did an English teacher with no money create one of the biggest digital empires on the planet? The answer is simpler than most people think. I didn't have any advantages. I wasn't the smartest or the richest, but I had one thing. I understood people. I built Alibaba by focusing on something that many companies ignore, solving real problems. I saw that millions of small businesses in China had no way to sell their products to the world. While others chased quick profits, I focused on long-term impact. When you put people first, success follows. Another secret was my willingness to take risks. I knew that playing it safe would never lead to anything big. Many people wait for the perfect moment, but the truth is, that moment never comes. If I had waited for the right conditions, Alibaba would have never been born. Leadership is also a key part of success. I treated my team like partners, not employees. I surrounded myself with people smarter than me and trusted them to do their jobs. A great leader is not the one who does everything, it's the one who brings out the best in others. Success is not about having all the answers. It's about starting before you feel ready, solving real problems, and believing in something bigger than yourself. Millions of people have found motivation in my words, but I never set out to be an inspirational speaker. I simply shared the lessons I learned from my failures, my struggles, and my journey. The world doesn't need more perfect success stories. It needs real stories of perseverance. That's why I always speak openly about my setbacks. One of the phrases that resonated most with people is, "If you don't give up, you still have a chance." This may sound simple, but it's the foundation of everything I've built. People often give up too soon, thinking that failure is the end. But in reality, the only time you truly fail is when you stop trying. Another truth I share is, opportunities lie where people aren't looking. Too many people focus on competition instead of innovation. Instead of fighting for a small piece of an existing market, why not create something new? Alibaba succeeded because we looked at what others ignored. If you train yourself to see problems as opportunities, you will always find a way forward. I also remind people, your attitude is more important than your skills. Many believe they need to be experts before they can succeed. But the world changes too fast for expertise alone to matter. What truly makes a difference is the ability to learn, adapt, and stay positive even in tough times. Words alone don't change lives, action does, but sometimes the right words at the right time can push you to take action. So what words will you choose to live by? I had every reason to give up. I wasn't a top student, I had no connections, and I faced rejection at every turn. But I chose a different path. I chose to keep going. Today, my story isn't just about Alibaba or becoming a billionaire. It's about proving that success is possible for anyone who is willing to persist. People often look at successful entrepreneurs and think they had an advantage. But I can tell you, there was nothing special about me. The only difference was that I refused to quit when things got hard. Success is not about being the best, it's about never giving up. If you're struggling, feeling lost, or wondering if your dreams are too big, let me tell you this. Everyone who has ever achieved something great started where you are. They faced doubt, failure, and fear. The only reason they succeeded is that they kept moving forward. No one will hand you success. The world is not designed to make things easy for you. But if you have the courage to take action despite the difficulties, you will find your way. You don't need to be the smartest, the richest, or the most talented. You just need to believe in yourself enough to keep going. The only question is, will you prove it for yourself? Leadership is not about giving orders. It's about inspiring people to follow you. Many believe that being a leader means being the smartest person in the room, but I have always believed the opposite. A great leader surrounds themselves with people who are smarter and better than them. At Alibaba, I never saw myself as the most capable person. I wasn't the best at technology, finance, or marketing, but I knew how to bring together a team that could take Alibaba to the next level. The key is simple. Hire people who are smarter than you and trust them to do their job. Another mistake leaders make is thinking they need to have all the answers. The truth is, leadership is not about knowing everything. It's about asking the right questions. Instead of controlling every detail, focus on creating an environment where people feel empowered to innovate, take risks, and find solutions. I also learned that leadership is about long-term vision. Many companies fail because their leaders focus only on immediate profits instead of building something sustainable. I always told my team, don't chase money, chase the dream, and the money will follow. A leader's job is to keep the team focused on the bigger picture. The greatest leaders don't create followers, they create more leaders. If you want to build something that lasts, don't focus on power. Focus on empowering others, because true leadership is not about you, it's about the people you help grow. If I lost everything today, no money, no contacts, no reputation, what would I do? Many people think success is about luck, but I believe success comes from mindset, and mindset is something you can rebuild at any time. First, I would look for a growing industry. The world is changing fast, and opportunities are everywhere. If you pay attention to where technology and business are headed, you can position yourself in the right place before others do. I would study trends, learn new skills, and prepare myself to enter the next big wave. Second, I wouldn't try to do everything alone. I would build a network, find mentors, and surround myself with people who think big. Success is not a solo journey. The fastest way to rise again is to connect with those who are already ahead of you. Third, I would focus on solving real problems. The world doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for the problems you solve. If you can identify something people struggle with and provide a solution, you will always have value. Finally, I would act fast. Many people hesitate, waiting for the perfect moment. But the truth is, the perfect moment never comes. The biggest mistake people make is delaying action. Even if you start small, starting now is always better than waiting. If I had to start over today, I wouldn't panic. I would do exactly what I did before: learn, adapt, and take action. Because success is not about what you have, it's about what you do with what you have.
Jack Ma's journey was nothing short of extraordinary. He wasn't born into wealth, he wasn't a genius, and he wasn't handed any special advantages. Yet, he built one of the most influential tech empires in the world. His story is not just about Alibaba. It's about resilience, vision, and the unshakable belief that failure is just another step toward success. In this powerful speech, Jack Ma shared the raw truth behind his rise from rejection to billionaire status. He revealed the exact mindset that turned countless failures into opportunities. He explained why intelligence, luck, and connections are far less important than persistence and adaptability. If you've ever felt lost, doubted yourself, or wondered if success was out of reach, this message will change the way you think forever. Jack Ma spoke about the pain of being rejected more than 30 times, from schools, from jobs, even from KFC. But instead of letting rejection define him, he turned it into fuel. He proved that the world doesn't reward those who never fail. It rewards those who refuse to quit. His story is not about overnight success, but about unwavering determination despite every obstacle. One of the most powerful lessons he shared was how he built an empire without being a genius. He openly admitted he was terrible at math, failed multiple exams, and lacked technical knowledge. Yet, he discovered that success isn't about knowing everything. It's about finding the right people and trusting them. This speech is a wake-up call for anyone waiting to be ready before taking action. Jack Ma also unveiled a crucial mistake that almost destroyed his company and how he managed to turn it around. He shared the one leadership lesson that transformed Alibaba into a global powerhouse, a lesson that few entrepreneurs truly understand. His insights on persistence, vision, and long-term thinking offer a blueprint for anyone looking to build something meaningful. Perhaps the most important takeaway from this speech is what Jack Ma would do if he had to start over today. His answer is a roadmap for anyone facing challenges, setbacks, or doubts. He doesn't just offer inspiration. He provides real, actionable steps that anyone can follow. His words have already changed millions of lives. Now that you've heard the truth behind Jack Ma's journey, The question isn't whether success is possible. It's whether you're willing to take action. Rejection, failure, and doubt will always be there. The real difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: persistence. So, what will you do with what you've learned? Will you let setbacks define you, or will you use them as fuel to keep going? Will you wait for the perfect moment, or will you start now with what you have? Remember, Jack Ma didn't have money, connections, or genius-level intelligence. He had determination. And that was enough to change everything. Which part of his journey resonated with you the most? Was it his ability to turn rejection into motivation? His strategy for never giving up? Or the leadership lessons that helped him build an empire? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you ever need motivation, come back to this video. Watch it again whenever doubt creeps in. Let Jack Ma's words remind you that anything is possible if you refuse to quit. Before you go, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, you might never find this video again. Turn on notifications so you never miss another lesson that could change your life. And don't stop here. Watch the next video, From Setbacks to Success. Jack Ma's journey of turning failures into triumphs. And continue learning the mindset that separates winners from everyone else. Your journey is just beginning.